Has Hyundai finally made a compact SUV that even German car enthusiasts can respect? Because after spending time with both the regular Venue DCT and the N line, I walked away thinking something I genuinely didn't expect. Let's start with the regular Venue. I'll be honest, my expectations were not very high. But within a few kilometers, the car started quietly undoing those expectations. The biggest surprise was the suspension tuning. Compared to the previous generation, this one feels noticeably more settled. It's less bouncy, and at highway speeds, it feels more planted than I expected from a car of this size. It's still not German level composure, we'll come to that later. But there's a sense that Hyundai engineers were trying to dial in stability rather than just soft comfort. That change shows up when you carry speed through long highway curves. The car doesn't feel nervous the way earlier Hyundais often did. Then there's the engine and gearbox combination. The 1-liter turbo with 7-speed DCT felt surprisingly eager. The power delivery is progressive. And unlike the 1-liter TSI in Kushaq, which feels like nothing and then suddenly a surge of boost, the Venue's power band feels more measured. You still feel the turbo spooled up, but it's smoother and easier to modulate. The DCT itself was another pleasant surprise. The shift speed feels sharper than what I experienced in Kia Sonet. In the Sonet, the gearbox sometimes doesn't even feel like it's a dual clutch, even in sport mode. In the Venue, it does. No, it's not DSG level lightning fast, but it feels properly good, and that's what matters. And the paddle shifters are genuinely satisfying to use, which isn't always the case for all cars. Then there's rest of the package. The cabin, the space, the sense of airiness. For a car this compact from the outside, the interior feels surprisingly open. The rear AC vents and the rear seat experience is decent too. And the feature list is frankly ridiculous. You get level 2 ADAS, adaptive cruise control with stop and go, and forward collision warning. Features that not long ago were reserved for cars far above this segment. All of that creates a package that starts to feel very complete. Is it an enthusiast car? No. But it's also not the vague, disconnected Hyundai experience enthusiasts used to complain about. If cars like the Kayak or 3XO didn't exist, living with this Venue every day would have still made me pretty happy. Now, enter the Venue N line. Visually, Hyundai clearly wants you to think that this is the mischievous sibling. Red accents, darker details, and a bit more attitude. But once you start digging into the changes, they are actually quite subtle. You do get 2 extra radars at the rear, enabling features like rare traffic collision alerts. The exhaust note has been tuned to sound a bit more playful. It adds a bit of character, but nothing dramatic. I still like it regardless. It did not feel obnoxiously loud. The N-line steering wheel is genuinely nice, chunky and well-shaped. Ironically though, I still prefer the flat bottom steering wheel from the base model. That feels a bit sportier to hold. The bigger difference is the black leatherette interior. And while the all-black theme looks sporty, the standard Venue's lighter cabin actually has more character. It feels fresher and more interesting. Plus, in Indian summers, black leatherette seats can turn into heat traps. Fabric seats would have been nice, but those are limited to lower trims where you lose out things like the electrically adjustable driver's seat. Personally, I'd be happy to trade that motorized adjustment for fabric seats any day. So while the N-line adds a little bit of attitude, it doesn't fundamentally change the character of the car. And that leads me to a bigger thought. Hyundai's N-line strategy has huge potential, but right now it feels like they are holding back. Imagine keeping the same engine and platform, but giving the N-line sharper steering, slightly firmer or more sophisticated suspension, and chassis tuning that genuinely prioritize cornering feel. Nothing extreme, just sharper. Because the enthusiast crowd in India gravitates towards German brands largely for their driving character. If Hyundai managed to inject even bit of that into their N-line SUVs without dramatically increasing the cost, they could pull a lot of those buyers. And the interesting part is, the Venue already feels closer to that goal than any affordable Hyundai SUV before it. The foundation is there, they just need to push a little bit further. Coming to the price, the top-end Venue DCT now sits at around 18 lakh rupees on the road in many places. That's a lot of money for a sub 4 meter SUV. These cars do feel expensive compared to a decade ago, but even then, if we consider the standard inflation rates around 6%, vehicles today are technically getting cheaper while also becoming far safer and more capable. At the price Venue DCT now sits, buyers start cross-shopping SUVs from higher tiers like Skoda Kushaq or Volkswagen Taigun. And yet surprisingly, the Venue offers more kit and level 2 ADAS compared to those Germans. So, stepping out of the Venue, one thought stayed with me. This might be the closest Hyundai has ever come to building a compact SUV that enthusiasts can respect. It may not do corners as effortless as some rivals do, but it also doesn't feel like a soft, disconnected Hyundai people used to criticize. And that shift alone says a lot about how far the brand has come. So now I'm curious, if Hyundai pushed the N-line formula just a little further, sharper steering, tighter suspension, more focus on driving feel, could the cars like Venue start pulling buyers away from the German options? Or will the N-line always remain a more style than substance kind of thing? What do you think about this? Drop your thoughts below.